I don't know if your man, came at me
Yeah, she's my
inappropriately.
man, and you have yours.
Yeah.
You're a sexy cowboy, aren't you?
Because I want you. You know why you're having a bad mood? Because I've been here with you in the same room and you cannot watch your porn.
You get hungry, you gotta eat,
I can see small brides and hope. Maybe she give it to me, my social media password.
Don't you do that to my guy. First time you throw my drink.
Get out of her face.
All right, come on.
Get away!
Something really magical can happen when we join forces for a guy's night, a girl's night. It can be a time for bonding, a time to feel seen. When it happens at a resort therapy, it can lead to destruction. That's exactly what happened in the latest episode of The Last Resort. Guys were together, the girlies were together, the drinks were flowing, and egos were puffed up, and it led to a huge collision, a brawl of egos in the name of Gino? Yeah, it got wild. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss the latest episode of The Last Resort. I am recording this on January 1st. Happy New Year to you and your loved ones. I love a brand new year because it really does feel like a fresh start. However, you guys, I'm glad that we are past the holidays of it all. I love the holidays. I love the decorations. I love the whole hoopla of it all. But there's something about it that makes me a bit nostalgic. Even if I am happy, like I was this year, I still cry at midnight. I don't know if it's my body purging, okay, close of a chapter. I don't know if it's because I'm single and I'm not kissing anyone at midnight. Yesterday, I started crying, y'all. At 11, I was like, I didn't go to the club because I wasn't feeling well. My stomach was a mess. I looked crazy. I looked rough, you guys. I had washed my hair and let it air dry. It was giving Betty La Fea. I literally ordered Domino's and finished the ultimatum and was in bed. Literally, it struck midnight. I had a FaceTime with my family and I went to sleep. That was my New Year's Eve. Anyway, all that to say that I know that end of the year celebrations come with a mixed bag of emotions, and whatever you're feeling, it's valid. I see you. I'm hugging you from here. You're in a web bestie, and it's gonna be all right. And I really do feel like the first day of the year is a blank slate. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. You can reinvent yourself at any point, but there's something so significant about making a choice and a vow to yourself at the start. So anyway, all that to say, I love you guys. You guys were a huge part of my year being beautiful. But yeah, I really just hope that you guys are all doing well. And I'm happy that you're here with me so we can discuss this mess. Okay, we're gonna jump straight into it. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new here. And yes, so where we left off was with the Schmeck's therapist, okay? And she's giving everyone homework. It's the end of the therapy session and she's like, so this is what you need to do because you guys are all in shambles. So I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of where everyone is. So Ari&Bini's homework was to have a romantic date because they are completely disconnected and they ended up going on an ATV. I think that's how you say it. ATV, UTV, I don't know. When we see them on that date, they look like they're having so much fun. They're actually laughing. They're not bickering. Ari tells us that this is the longest that they've ever lasted not fighting while being together, which I think is sad, but also an opportunity. But she also reminds us that they didn't really date a lot when they got together because she got pregnant soon after. And I was like, again, that's a reminder that they probably wouldn't have stayed together if it wasn't for the baby, which isn't a good foundation, but I just feel like they've had so much time to start over, and I think that they're doomed. It's confirmed to me that they're doomed because while they're having this picnic that's supposed to be romantic, Benny's like, yeah, we're having a great time, but, I really need her to give me the social media passwords or it's not going to be a good time anymore. So it just sucks because any good effort that he puts forward, it's with that intention that he needs that. And I honestly feel like I'm not with her withholding that information, but I also feel like the minute he gets it, he's leaving the resort. And that's not cool. Just lead with that. Be like, Ari, There is nothing that we could do that is going to bring us to a place where I want to be with you. Let's stop wasting each other's time. Next couple, Sophie and Rob, their assignment is to take turns dominating each other. This assignment was given to them so that they can build trust, and you could see from Sophie's face immediately that she's not about it. And when we see them in practice, she is spanking him in the most vanilla of ways. If we didn't have the context that we had, it would look like these two are strangers. And Rob later confirmed that like it didn't go further than that. So assignment failed. Next up is Brandon and Julia. I think their assignment was to have like more fun together. So she gave them a kit with like blindfolds, like things to spank each other, because they work well when there's laughter. And I think that that's important because I feel like Brandon is very serious and Julia needs that levity. But when we see them doing the thing, like there was nothing sexy about it. They look like two siblings, honestly. Stacey&Florian's assignment is to like role play, and they took that assignment seriously. I loved them in their costumes, their cowboy hats, their belts. And I knew that Stacey would get into it because her and Darcy are always doing crazy stuff like that. But Florian was getting flustered because he was into it. He was like laughing a lot, like breaking character because he was getting hot and bothered. If anything, out of all of the couples, I think that they completed the assignment and it was a success because they were actually intimate and they hadn't been in months. And seeing them the next morning canoodling, it looked like he was going back for seconds. Like they were really connected and I love that for them. I also feel like they're on this show for communication issues. I think that they'll be fine in that department. The last couple though is Jasmine&Gino, and like it went as you'd expect. Their assignment was to have Gino plan a night of seduction for Jasmine. When Gino hears this, he's like, well, I hope you're not meaning something intimate because I'm just not ready for that. And you could see Jasmine's face like, the therapist is like, no, like I want to meet you where you are, like, plan a date, like give massages. And the whole time the therapist is talking to him, you guys, he looks constipated. He just does not want anything to do with Jasmine. And it doesn't help that on top of all the reasons why he's resenting Jasmine, this assignment was given to him just after he heard that Jasmine wants to have a side boyfriend. So he's not feeling happy about that because he's like, this is a deal breaker for me. Like, no, it's not acceptable. But then again, Gino, you're not trying to give into anything. You're not trying to find a middle ground. Like, you guys got to find a solution. As for the whole having a side boyfriend thing, I know that many different kind of relationships are out there and people need to do what works for them. I can't yuck your yum if having a third person in your relationship works for you guys and you guys feel stable in that. But I do believe that it has to be consensual. You both have to be in agreement. And it's what the therapist said. In order to have an open relationship, that involves so much communication, so much compromise, so much like empathy. Like there's so much consideration that has to be applied into that kind of relationship. And that's at its foundation. Gino and Jasmine's foundation is broken. So I understand her desire for that. And I don't think that I could be in a sexless marriage, but I think that there's a lot of work to do before they can get to that. And I just don't think the 3 weeks that they're going to be in this resort is long enough for that. All that to say, Gino looks constipated, Jasmine looks upset and vindicated because she's like, this is why I want to have someone on the side. But their date is for him to seduce her, right? So he plans a date at like the jacuzzi that's part of the resort. So not much intention, not much thought. There aren't flowers, there aren't chocolates, there aren't champagne bottles, nothing of the sort. They just came down from their room to the hot tub. They get in there, Jasmine is giving him the eyes. And Jasmine breaks the ice and she tells him, Gino, I really am attracted to you. Like, I miss you. And like the way that she's talking to him, you could tell that her intention was to like basically get his defenses down. I thought that this was important for her to affirm him, for her to tell him that like she finds him attractive, she misses him, she finds him sexy, like all of these things. Because I think that Jasmine has done a lot of damage to Gino by constantly being like, my exes are better than you. Like, you do this badly, you do this. And maybe it's a little too late, but I think that it's big of her to be like, babe, like, I desire everything about you. Like, I want my husband. Like, I don't want to have to look elsewhere, but like, my husband isn't having this closeness, you know? And she's like, really, like, she's really working up the charm. And Gino was like, okay, like, wow, like, you're being nice, you know? And Jasmine's like, wait a minute, like, the assignment is for you to seduce me, not me to seduce you. And then he just starts going like this to her back, like trying to like give her a massage, and she's getting turned on. And so Jasmine's like, okay, so like, you're gonna seduce me, like, what are we gonna do then? Because yeah, she's gonna be open, she's gonna be ready, like, what are you gonna do with that? And he's like, oh, well, nothing, because, you know, I'm just not ready for that. Which is not what Jasmine wants to hear, but still, she's not reacting negatively yet. Instead, she tries to, like, reciprocate the massage. Y'all, the way that Gino went, he recoiled at her touching his chest. I've been very vocal on this channel, very vocal about people not being forced into intimacy. Just because you're married, you're not entitled to my body. I'm not entitled to yours. I will stick by that. However, there is a way to assert that boundary and still like have tenderness for your partner. Because after all, you are at this resort to work with each other. There's many ways that you could go about it. Let's say I'm Gino and she like puts her hands on my chest. I would caress her hands, and I'd be like, babe, like, I appreciate you. Like, I'm just not ready for that. Can I just stick to rubbing your back? He just could have met her with the tenderness that she was giving him. But instead, this grown-ass man is like, and Jasmine's like, are you kidding? Like, this is what you do when we're at home. Like, this is super offensive to me. It makes me feel so rejected. Gino, this is why she wants a third person. It's just so painful to watch because Jasmine's like, I'm deprived, like, you're not giving it to me, but then you don't want someone else to give it to me. And then it takes a turn because Jasmine's like, you've been in a bad mood since we got here, and I know why. It's because you have issues, Gino. You're in a bad mood because you haven't been able to watch your corn because we share a room. That's what it is. And y'all, I, at first, was one of the people that disagreed that this man had a corn addiction. But this is like the 5th time that I've seen this topic come up, and he has gotten so defensive. And I understand that if that's not the truth, you would get annoyed. Totally. But the way that he gets defensive makes me feel like there's some truth there. And the minute she brings that up, he's like, you always do this. I don't have a corn problem. I just don't want to be with you. And he just starts barging off. He's about to head to the room. She's still in this pool by herself. And they're just having a yelling match. And he's like, you know what? I'm better off doing that by myself. And then he walks off. And she's just left stewing. And I'm like, yeah, she definitely is about to have some phone schmecks with Matt. Because, Gino, you're not helping your case. And I don't condone cheating either. Like, they need to be apart. And I think that's where we're heading by the end of the season. They're not going to survive this. So that was a snapshot of where the couples are right now. Next up is the guys' powwow. So the guys are back at the resort. They're by the pool. They're having some drinks. And they're trying to check in with each other. Like, did you guys do your assignment? Like, how was it? Brandon and Rob are like, yeah, we did our assignments, but like, it was whatever. We didn't score. And Florian is like, well, it's not about scoring. It's about building connection and communication. Those two are not getting that, like, their relationship needs a lot of work before they can get to that place of intimacy. And Florian is like, yeah, like, y'all are slow. But of course, it's easier for Florian to talk this way because he got straight A's in that assignment, okay? He even got extra credit, you know what I mean? Gino talks a little bit about how his assignment went and how awful it was and how Jasmine always brings up the corn thing. And at this point, he's getting liquored up. And he's like, you know, I don't even watch it that many times. Like, what, like 4 times a week or something? And then, like, I'm good. And he's asking the guys, like, don't you guys watch it? And all of them are like, yes, we're in sexless marriages. Yes, we watch it, and you could see Gino felt like so vindicated. And then he goes on to say that like another reason why he just doesn't feel like it's time for him to be intimate with Jasmine is because she wants an open relationship. And we hear what we always hear when Gino talks about his relationship. Florian's like, man, why don't you just bang your wife? At this point, at any event that Gino is at, we need to have one of those countdowns because he gets this. He gets this at every function. But at the root of it, you guys, like Gino is angry. He is so angry at everything that he's gone through with Jasmine, all of the things that she's put him through, all of the scenes that she's made, all of the names that she's called him, the many times that she's threatened to cheat on him, leave him. Like there's a lot of pent up anger. And at this point, even if it's not for the sake of their marriage, for the sake of his well-being, he needs help. Rob leaves them with a question. So, do you guys think that like you'll make it to the ceremony? You know that at the end they have like that recommitment ceremony, and Gino's like, I don't know, like I'm gonna need more time. And Brandon says he doesn't know. Rob certainly doesn't know because he's like, at this point, I don't know if I could do more. And Florian is looking around at all these bozos and he feels bad. He's like, damn, like these guys don't even know if they're leaving with their wives. Like, we have some issues, but I'm leaving with mine. So that was the guy powwow. The girlies have a powwow of their own. They're at this like hat, like cowboy hat decorating store. It looks really cute. Initially, it's just Sophie, Jasmine, and Julia. There's a lot of squealing, a lot of champagne being popped. Jasmine is venting about Gino's awful attempt at seducing her. Sophie's listening to this. She's empathizing with Gino because she feels like she's the Gino in her relationship and Jasmine is the Rob. And she's just like, yeah, like I'm simply just not there. But as I said, the champagne is flowing and Julia is like, oh, you guys, be careful with the glass because Natalie is coming. Stacey is going to show up with Natalie because Stacey is still playing mother hen. She wants all of her girlies to get along. And she's like the one person that is still talking to Natalie. And it's safe to say that nobody is there to welcome her with open arms. Jasmine is like, I'm not going to deal with crazy. Let the therapist deal with that. The story is that Natalie ran into Stacey and she like told her that she had all these regrets and she wants to make nice with the girls. She wants to apologize. And honestly, I think that she knows she needs to play nice because she'll have more screen time if she's in more group shots. But if she's beefing with everybody, like her screen time is limited. So it's time, right? Natalie comes in with Stacey and the vibe is uncomfortable from the start because it is just silence. Like she just joins in to wherever they are and starts fidgeting with a hat. And everyone's just looking around. And Jasmine, ready to stir the pot, is like, oh, no. Like, put those glasses over there. Like, put away the scissors. And Natalie, she clocks it. Because a mean girl recognizes mean girl tactics. And she's like trying to swallow her pride. But she clocked that. She immediately apologizes and is like, like, I was a victim of bullying and like, this sob story. And everyone's like, yeah, we were bullied too. And so she turns her attention to Sophie. And Sophie's like, I was bullied too, and I didn't act out the way you did. You purposely went out of your way to rub my husband's arm. And you were mad at me because your man came after me. And Natalie, for some reason, only hears that. And she's like, yeah, my man, and you have yours. Again, you're showing that you've learned nothing. Sophie's like, I don't want your man. Like, what's not clicking? And the problem here is that you didn't give me an opportunity to even have a conversation with you before you jump to conclusions. And I think that's true. Natalie could have had a calm conversation with Sophie, get all the information, and then go to Josh. But her insecurities led her to talk to Sophie. However, we need to reel it in because Sophie, that is very hypocritical of you to say. Because even before word got to Natalie, you made it your business to spread that to everyone that would listen. You weren't looking out for Natalie then. You were instigating drama in doing that. And like, that's also not okay. That also speaks to your insecurity and being like, yeah, I'm desired, but like, I don't want anybody. Clocked it. It's just a series of shady events, But then ultimately, Sophie's like, I don't want your man. Like, I can show you the messages if you want. Like, I don't want him. I wasn't coming after him. And Natalie's like, yeah, show me. Sophie shows her the messages, and you could see Natalie being like, oh yeah, it's not you. It's not you. It's him. She passes the phone to Jasmine, and the messages did leak online. But y'all, like, it's basically Josh saying that, like, they're not together. He's not claiming Natalie. Every time he says that it's, like, complicated, I'm like, yeah, he's literally on the show to be on the show. I really don't think that this man wants to work at anything with Natalie except get his little pencil wet whenever he can. So Jasmine is reading everything and she's like, see, like, we've been trying to tell you that Sophie did not initiate this, that all of this heat should have been directed at Josh. Natalie is realizing that Josh fibbed a lot. He kept saying that, like, they had mutual friends that were gonna be there, but in the messages he was like, you want to come on this date? Like, it was direct invites. And you could see that she had her tail between her legs and she apologizes to Sophie. And Sophie is not going to be fake in this moment, so she says, and she's like, listen, like, I have to process this because you came at things that, like, are tied to my insecurity. Like, you came at my body, you came at my character. And same thing, Sophie, you came at her age, you came at her appearance. Like, words can be harmful and we have to use them for good. Be very calculated when we use them for bad because they can cut deep. And Sophie said, she's like, what if I was in a bad place? Like, that could have really done some damage. And true, this season has just begun and they're not going to learn a lesson. I can tell you that right now. They're going to keep being nasty to each other because they're just mean girls. And mean girls, unfortunately, don't learn until something traumatic happens. Not that I'm wishing that on them. I'm just saying that some lessons, unfortunately, are only learned when you're, like, caught between a rock and a hard place. So they agree that they're going to play nice just, you know, to make it through these therapy sessions that are ahead, but they're not, like, gonna be friends. So Stacey is trying to wrap this all up with, like, a nice bow. I honestly think that the producers put her up to this, but she's like, yeah, woman power. And I was just like, oh babe, you tried. You really tried. But the next scene is when they all come together. And it is a disaster. The girlies have been sipping on champagne, okay? They want to go to the boys and show them their decorated new cowboy hats. The guys have been piling on the alcohol the whole day. When we first saw them, it was still sunny out. When they come together, it is dark and the guys are wasted at the bar. Wasted. The girls have been talking crap about the guys have been talking crap about the girls. The minute the guys see the girls come in, they're like, oh, what's that sound? What's that noise? Brandon flat out says, party's over. Something like that, like, fun is over, like, they're here. And Julia and Jasmine are like, we are the party. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't even know what fun is. You can't even spell fun, Brandon. And honestly, you guys, the guys are drunk and you could see in their body language that they don't want to be disturbed. They have a nice little system going, a nice little understanding. And the girls, while they were sipping on champagne, they're not nearly at their level. So automatically, you already know it's not going to be great. It is the worst to be the sober person around drunk people. And it's unfortunate because sometimes when you are super sober around really drunk people and you're not matching the energy, you are an automatic party pooper, even if you don't want to be. So the vibes are off because the girlies are looking to connect with their guys and their guys are not about it. So Jasmine is like, look who's here. And then that's when they, like, reveal Natalie. And the guys are like, oh, Natalie, because they thought that she was exiled. And Gino gives her a hug. And this is, like, the longest contact Jasmine has seen him have with anyone. So she's, like, giving it a look. And Gino was, like, sloppy drunk at this point. And I love that Jasmine checked in with Natalie and she was like, are you okay? Did that hug make you feel uncomfortable? And Natalie's like, it's fine. But I'm like, I have to replay it because I'm like, since when do Natalie and Gino hug? Like, never. Like, it just felt off, you know? So the guys are at the bar and they're flat out just giving the girls their back. Like, they're, like, ordering more drinks. Florian is like, drink, drink, drink. And Jasmine is like, oh, Florian, you're a bad influence on my husband. Like, stop. She like tries to pull a drink from Gino's hand and he is like fighting her. She takes it out and like spills it. Like she's like, you're not drinking anymore. Like you're cut off. Florian is like, I'm not a bad influence. I'm gonna take him to Miami. Florian, that's not what you say in that moment. But granted, he is drunk. He is not thinking straight, you know? So Florian is egging Gino on. Rob and Brandon are like, let my guy have some fun. Like, let him live a little. This is the happiest we've ever seen him until Jasmine showed up. Like, it's bad, you guys. And here's the thing. I'm going to pause real quick. I think that it is perfectly fine for the guys to have this night to just be on their own. I don't think that this collision was necessary. Granted, I think they knew that drama would come of it, but like it's okay for Gino to get wasted with the boys and have that be that. Just like the girls can have a night and have that be that. I personally didn't see what the problem was because it's like, Jasmine, whether he's drunk or not, he's not going to touch you. You are not sleeping in the same bed. It literally does not affect you if he has a night out. So it did feel like she was purposely being a party pooper, you know? Like they weren't going to go anywhere. They were just going to be in the resort. So I thought that that was strange, but maybe she's feeling away because of how awful their night out went. And she says, she's like, you know, we're not here for fun. We're here for like our therapy. I agree, but in this moment, like it's a night out, just like you were having it. I don't know. All of it felt off. But anyway, Jasmine keeps taking Gino's drinks. So Florian orders him a drink and decides to give it to him. And Jasmine, before he could give it to him, grabs it and spills it. And Florian is like, you're not going to do that to me. This is the second drink that you've done to me. Like, you don't get to do that. And he's in her face. And Jasmine is like looking right at him because she's not afraid of him. The whole time, Stacey's yelling from the side, like, get away from her. Don't talk to her like that. Everybody is yelling at this point. And it's funny because I'm like, Florian, one, do get out of her face. Two, who are you trying to intimidate? Three, everybody needs to keep their hands to themselves. And I do have to mention that when the guys were having their solo time and they were talking, I think Florian is really fond of Gino because he kept saying like Gino deserves better, like it's messed up that Jasmine wants to open up the relationship. He needs to be with someone that's understanding. So honestly, I think that everyone, while they were apart, were really like getting their egos boosted and we're getting that validation that like their side is the right side. So by the time that they all came together, everyone was feeling super like self-righteous. And I think that's why we got this brawl. And it's not going to end in the next episode. It's bleeding into everything because we're going to see Florian and Jasmine still beefing in the next episode. We're going to see Natalie and Josh face off and she's going to come with receipts this time. And then we're going to see Rob and Sophie go at it. But Natalie is inserting herself in the drama, which makes it clear to me that the girl-on-girl drama is far from over. So things are really ramping up. I really enjoyed this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading them. And yeah, you guys, I hope that you have a beautiful start to your new year. And I will see you in the next one.